Order. At this time, if you would please stand, we'll have a Pledge of Allegiance and a prayer by Ned Beach.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Almighty Lord, may we please be morally, ethically, and financially responsible in all our decisions. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Amen.
I would like to let you know, Bob Bosma just let us know that there were some technical difficulties and we will not be televised this evening. So, roll call.
Beach.
Here.
Livingston.
Here.
Carter.
Here.
Ehlers. Here. Heaton.
Here.
Young.
Here.
Kelly.
Here.
Meadows.
Here. Thank you very much. Hearing of citizens' comments at this time. If there's anyone in the audience that would like to come forward and make a comment, this is your time to do it. You have 5 minutes. Looks like we don't have any takers this evening. Approval of the minutes of the November 4th, 2013 council meeting. They were in your packet and you've had time to look those over. Are there any additions or corrections to the minutes as presented? Seeing none, they will stand as approved. Consent items, we have none this evening. Presentation of accounts and claims. Mary, when you're ready, if you would please read the ordinance appropriating money.
Ordinance appropriating money. Be it ordained by the Council of the City of Boonville as follows. Section 1. For the purpose of paying salaries and various accounts against the City of Boonville, which have been allowed by the Council at the regular meeting thereof on November 18, 2013, the sum of $283,616.88. General Fund, $175,785.70. Sanitation, $17,698.76. CIP tax, $36,426.23. Waterworks, $8,990.76. Capital projects, $2,787.57. Wastewater, $23,487.64. Tourism, $6,044.39. Gaming, $12,395.83. Parks and Water, 0. Section 2, the bookkeeper is hereby authorized and instructed to draw checks on their respective city bank accounts in favor of the persons whose salaries and accounts have been allowed as above, amounting to $283,616.88, being the total amount of money above appropriated. Section 3, this ordinance shall take effect and be enforced from natural's passage. First reading on November 18, 2013. Read for the second time this 18th day of November 2013, since a copy was made available prior to the meeting.
Second reading, title only.
Ordinance appropriating money.
Mark?
Mayor, I move we approve this ordinance.
Morris?
Second.
Any discussions or questions? Roll call.
Beach.
Yes.
Livingston.
Yes.
Carter.
Yes.
Ehlers.
Yes.
Heaton.
Yes.
Young.
Yes.
Kelly.
Yes.
Meadows.
Yes. Thank you very much. Unfinished business, item A, second reading of bill number 2013-031, establishing a stop sign on Harley Street at Parkway Drive.
An ordinance of the City of Boonville, Missouri, establishing a stop sign on Harley Street at Parkway Drive, providing an effective date thereof, and repealing all ordinances in conflict with this ordinance.
Morris.
Mayor, make a motion that this be approved.
Second.
Thank you very much. Discussion? Anyone have any questions? Roll call.
Beach.
Yes.
Livingston.
Yes.
Carter.
Yes.
Ehlers.
Yes.
Heaton.
Yes.
Young.
Yes.
Kelly.
Yes.
Meadows.
Yes. New business, item A, first and second reading of bill number 2013-032, authorizing the city clerk to cause a second election to be called in regards to the annexation along and including the Highway 87 corridor.
An ordinance of the City of Boonville authorizing the city clerk to cause a second election to be called pursuant to RSMO 71.015, subsection 6, in regards to the annexation of contiguous property along and including the Highway 87 corridor and southern border of city, consisting of approximately 243 acres, by taking the necessary actions before the Cooper County Clerk, fixing the time when this ordinance shall become effective, and repealing all ordinances in conflict with this ordinance. Whereas the City Council of Boonville, Missouri authorized the first election to be held on November 5, 2013 for the involuntary annexation of 243 acres to the southeast of the current city limits of Boonville, including the land along the southern city border and along and adjacent to Highway 87 pursuant to ordinance number 4324, approved on August 26, 2013. And whereas the voting on the annexation proposition on November 5, 2013 resulted in less than a majority of total votes cast in favor of the annexation by the residents in the area proposed to be annexed, and more than a majority of total votes cast by city residents. And whereas the involuntary annexation statute, RSMO 71.015, details the election requirements in subsection 6, incorporated in its entirety below. Except as provided in subsection 3 of this section, if the court authorizes the city, town, or village to make an annexation, the legislative body of such city, town, or village shall not have the power to extend the limits of the city, town, or village by such annexation until an election is held at which the proposition for annexation is approved by a majority of the total votes cast in the city, town, or village, and by a separate majority of the total votes cast in the unincorporated territory sought to be annexed. However, should less than a majority of the total votes cast in the area proposed to be annexed vote in favor of the proposal, but at least a majority of the total votes cast in the city, town, or village vote in favor of the proposal, then the proposal shall again be voted upon in not more than 120 days by both the registered voters of the city, town, or village, and the registered voters of the area proposed to be annexed. If at least two-thirds of the qualified electors voting thereon are in favor of the annexation, then the city, town, or village may proceed to annex the territory. If the proposal fails to receive the necessary majority, no part of the area sought to be annexed may be subject of another proposal to annex for a period of 2 years from the date of the election, except that during the 2-year period, the owners of all fee interests of record in the area or any portion of the area may petition the city, town, or village for the annexation of the land owned by them pursuant to the procedures in section 71.012. The election shall, if authorized, be held, except at herein otherwise provided, in accordance with the general state law governing special elections, and the entire cost of the election or elections shall be paid by the city, town, or village proposing to annex the territory. Whereas the 120-day time frame for a second election for annexation correlates to an election schedule when elections were available every 3 to 4 months. However, the election laws governing the availability of elections for general and local government issues pursuant to RSMO 115.123 were changed in 2012 and now limits the February election, which is the next available election within the 120-day time frame, to bond issues and other enumerated issues, not including an annexation issue. And whereas, according to the election calendar published by the Secretary of State, the next available election, styled General Municipal Election Day, is April 8, 2014. Now therefore be it ordained by the City Council of the City of Boonville, Missouri as follows. Section 1. The city clerk is hereby instructed to take all actions required to cause such election to be called and properly held, and to present to the County Clerk of Cooper County, Missouri, such certifications as shall be required to cause such election to be held, with the issue to be presented to the voters of the City of Boonville at such election to be as follows. Proposition. Shall the city limits of the City of Boonville in the County of Cooper, State of Missouri, be extended so as to include and annex 243 acres of unincorporated land with corresponding road right-of-way which is located to the southeast of the current city limits, along and including the Highway 87 corridor and southern border of the city, with such property, at the time of annexation, being placed in various zoning districts, including RA, R1, C1, and C2, according to the land use and the zoning ordinance of the City of Boonville, and approve the plan of intent for the provision and financing of municipal services to the area annex. Yes, no. Instructions to voters. If you are in favor of the question, place an X in the box opposite yes. If you are opposed to the question, place an X in the box opposite no. Section 2, the city clerk shall cause this ballot language to be presented to the Cooper County Clerk on or before November 26, 2013, for his review and determination of the proper election date and for the second annexation vote. Section 3, this ordinance shall take effect and be in full force from and after its passage and approval. Section 4, that all ordinances or parts of ordinances in conflict with this ordinance are hereby repealed. First and second reading, November 18, 2013. Read for the first and second time and passed this 18th day of November, 2013, after a copy of this ordinance has been made available for public inspection prior to its first and second reading.
Second reading, title only.
An ordinance of the City of Boonville, Missouri, authorizing the city clerk to cause a second election to be called pursuant to RSMO 71.015, subsection 6, in regards to the annexation of contiguous property along and including the Highway 87 corridor and southern border of city, consisting of approximately 243 acres, by taking the necessary actions before the Cooper County Clerk, fixing the time when this ordinance shall become effective, and repealing all ordinances in conflict with this ordinance. Mark?
Mayor, I move we approve this ordinance.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Okay. Any discussion while Mary catches her breath? Give her a little time to recuperate from that reading. Megan, did you have any comments about the date, or since it will be April?
Well, I wrote this ordinance. My legal opinion is that the second election should be held in April based upon the changes to the election law. Obviously, the final call doesn't rest with me or the city. It's a election official decision. That's Darrell Kemp. He will seek his legal advice from other folks, but I think the reading of the law is fairly clear.
Okay.
Thank you.
Any questions or comments? Are you ready? Roll call.
Beach.
Yes.
Livingston.
Yes.
Carter.
Yes.
Ehlers.
Yes.
Heaton.
Yes.
Young.
Yes.
Kelly.
Yes.
Meadows.
Yes.
Thank you very much. First reading of Bill Number 2013-033, annexing at the northeast corner of Highway B and Interstate 70, commonly known as 2450 Main Street, owned by Casey's Marketing.
Mayor, just a quick point. On the agenda, it reads Highway 5 instead of Highway B. So we should make sure that gets corrected.
Okay. Mine was corrected, so I thought maybe all of them were. Okay, thank you. We'll make that note.
An ordinance of the City of Boonville, Missouri, annexing certain contiguous territory at the northeast corner of Highway B and Interstate 70, commonly known as 2450 Main Street, owned by Casey's Marketing Company and Iowa Corporation, and to the City of Boonville, Missouri, providing an effective date therefore, and repealing all ordinances in conflict with this ordinance.
Thank you, Mary. Item C, first reading of Bill Number 2013-034, approving lease agreement with Nicholas Supermarkets Incorporated for land adjacent to the city lakes on Boone Village Drive.
An ordinance of the City of Boonville, Missouri, authorizing and approving a lease agreement and option to purchase between the City of Boonville, Missouri and Nicholas Supermarkets Incorporated for the land adjacent to the city lakes on Boone Village Drive, providing an effective date therefore, and repealing all ordinances in conflict with this ordinance.
Thank you very much. Item D, consider resolution number R2013-15, authorizing execution of a financial assistance award agreement with the Economic Development Administration, or the EDA.
A resolution of the City of Boonville, Missouri, authorizing execution of a financial assistance award agreement by and between the City of Boonville, Missouri and the Economic Development Administration, EDA, and providing an effective date therefor. Whereas the City of Boonville applied for and has been awarded partial funding for the rehabilitation of Science Hall to facilitate a technology training center under the Public Works and Economic Adjustment Assistance Program of the EDA. Now therefore be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Boonville, Missouri as follows. Section 1, that the City of Boonville, Missouri shall accept and execute the financial assistance award agreement with the Economic Development Administration for Science Hall improvements. Section 2, that the mayor is hereby authorized to execute said agreement on behalf of the City of Boonville, Missouri, and the city clerk is hereby authorized and directed to impress thereon the official seal of the city and to attest said execution. Section 3, this resolution shall take effect and be in full force from and after its passage and approval. Passed this 18th day of November 2013 by the City Council of Boonville, Missouri.
Mark?
Mayor, I move we approve this resolution.
I second.
Thank you, Mike. Discussion. Ned?
The lease. The motion that the State Fair Community College Board of Trustees passed authorized State Fair Community College to proceed with entering into an MOU, Memorandum of Understanding and Lease Agreement with the City of Boonville.
Ned, if you could speak up.
I'm
A lot
sorry.
of people have a hard time hearing you.
Okay, excuse me. The motion does authorize State Fair Community College to enter into a lease with the City of Boonville. The motion, however, does not call out anything in the way of specificity as to when it's going to occur, what kind of terms would be attached to the completion, and appears to me to be somewhat, I guess the best word to do is somewhat soft. EDA does want to review the lease, so it seems to me that perhaps we're just a little bit premature, that we might prefer to get the conditional lease handled. In other words, the lease is conditioned on the completion of the building. And that way EDA can review it at the same time that we're reviewing it, so that it's approved. I'm not really very comfortable about passing this resolution until we have a lease, particularly after seeing their motion and the lack of specifics in that motion.
Okay, how does the rest of the council feel about that? Noah?
Well, as far as that specific issue goes, I'm glad whoever put that in there, I'm glad you did, because that kind of gives us a roadmap of where we're going, and it looks like they are in agreement of it. But I guess my question is if they passed a motion authorizing to do that, where are we at on that? I mean, has there been any steps taken on our part to put that into fruition, or is there going to be? I mean, what kind of timeframes are we looking at?
Before they can do anything, I expect we're approaching 2 years.
2015.
On the building, you mean? As far as what they're...
Yeah, they can't, they're not gonna lease it before it's done.
Right, exactly. But I meant, like, for instance, when I was reading the EDA thing, it appeared to me some of the dates in here were already past the deadline. It said 30 days, which I think was sometime in September, so 30 days would be sometime in October. So I'm assuming there's new deadlines.
Right, if somewhere in there, I believe I said I got them
Very-
extended 30 days, because we got it 3
Okay.
days before the first deadline.
Okay,
because
so-
of sequester.
So I guess my question is are we, what kind of deadline are we looking at now to pass this, to get the ball moving?
I think it's November 21st, to give us another 30 days.
So November 21st, we have to,
You act on it or it's gone. So, at some point, you just have to vote. We can't cover all contingencies on something with that long a lead time, given that the EDA's got to approve the lease anyway, so I don't know how to accomplish that, is what I'm telling you. So.
Is that all your questions, Noah?
Yeah, I mean, I read the thing about the EDA wanting to look at the lease or approve it or whatever, so they're not going to give the money until they've looked at it anyway, right? So the lease
I think
will be
so.
produced and made sometime before before they commit money to us and we commit money to them. Is that an accurate statement?
I don't know about committing before they write you a check or
Right.
reimburse you for it, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I think that's the way it is.
Steve?
It looks like here on a project development time schedule, you're not starting a project till the September of 2015, and completion will be September 2017. Am I reading that wrong?
No, I think that was right.
That's right.
So you're looking way down the road.
Well,
Start of construction.
I have
Just a
something.
second, I think Morris had his hand up. Is that all you had, Steve?
Yes.
Okay, Morris?
I just want to make sure I understand it right. No, even if we approve this here, if we cannot come into an agreement on a lease with State Fair, then we can back out of this deal.
I don't know if I'd word it that way quite,
Well, I
but,
mean-
I guess if they don't approve the lease, they probably aren't going to participate, so I guess that kills it, but the issue would be, of course, then you've incurred some cost along the way, because you're going to start engineering pretty soon. You won't start construction before that, but you're going to start some engineering before that.
Does that answer your question, Morris?
Yeah.
Try me again on that, Earl. I really didn't track with that. What you're saying is that EDA, if they don't approve the lease, would provide no funding,
Right.
correct?
Right.
But we are going to have to move forward with some costs in the interim,
Right, you're going to start engineering, some design work in the meantime, yeah.
which they won't be covering. EDA.
Well, theoretically, if they, oh,
It's only the final dispersion of
disbursement.
funds
Okay.
that are held up. When you read through this document, there's two very important differences. Some of the funds are done prior to the start of construction, and some of the funds are at the end of the whole project. And the lease agreement is at the end of the project. So the EDA won't be reviewing this when you start construction. The EDA will review the lease agreement prior to the final disbursement of funds under the grant.
So we could be out the 1.7 or the 1.9 million, or some portion of that, and then not have a lease at the end of the deal.
probably you could, but I just call your attention to what, the lease must include certain things relating to audits, inspections, retentions of records, assignments, and subletting, civil rights, and environmental compliance. So those are things you're probably going to agree to and are not going to be some sort of a issue involving with State Fair or something. I think they might comment on the rate, the State Fair rate. They might comment on that. I don't know, but I don't know what they're looking for. So,
Mike, did you have a comment?
Yeah, I just looking at this, of course, there's going to be contingencies with nearly 5 years out from the original lease that they started with us, State Fair started with us in 2012. That means they're in 2017 with their current lease. And then there's that overlapping issue with the new building on top of that. You don't want to necessarily extend one beyond the other because they could, in theory, drop out of the first part of the lease. So I think at this point, the way I see it is we either think this is a good way to go or not a good way to go, and we entrust the people, as this resolution says, to make those decisions as they're needed at the right time, and we either proceed or don't proceed. That's the way I see it.
Okay. Any other comments or questions? Roll call.
Beach,
No.
Livingston,
Yes.
Carter,
Yes.
Ayers,
Yes.
Eaton,
Yes.
Young,
Yes.
Kelly,
Yes.
Meadows.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
What was the last vote?
Yes.
So it does move forward. Reports of standing committees, Planning and Zoning Commission. Councilman Beach?
Was a fun meeting. We were talking about a new project in Boonville, the Casey's out on the northeast corner of I-70 and Highway B, and it was just really, really kind of cool to see everybody get enthused and ask a lot of great questions about the project, and it's good to see a new project get started. So, yeah, good meeting to be at.
Okay, any questions?
Good question. Megan, you might know this or you might not. If not, I guess you can get back to me some other time. But on the sign variance, how does that compare to the other signs in the area, like say the break time sign? Is that comparable to the break time sign?
I don't think that either of the signs on the other side of the highway, the McDonald's, the break time, I'm not sure about, I don't think the Taco Bell is that far off, but the problem that the Casey's site has is that it's sitting about 10 to 15 foot lower in elevation than the folks on the other side of the highway. And I know nobody probably really appreciates it, but as you're coming across on the interstate, the two things you've got is sight distance and speed. And according to their preliminary calculations, you can't see the sign at the height that it is right now until you're past the exit. So that's why they're requesting the sign variance. We can go up to 60 feet. They're requesting 80. And part of their sign, as you recall, is kind of the tip of their little house piece, and so that extends it enough.
And what about the number sizes too? Because it looked to me as if the actual gasoline number sizes were 60 inches, 5 feet. That's comparable to the others, or is
I
that
think
going to
so.
dwarf them?
No, I think it's pretty comparable.
Okay.
Yeah. We'll have a full presentation on that at the next Planning and Zoning Commission as well, because the Planning and Zoning Commission actually approves sign variances. It doesn't go through the Board of Adjustments. So they will look at that, and that's on our agenda for the next time to come and actually review those issues in detail with comments from the developer and the sign folks on why do they need it and so forth. The last time we went through a review of this type was with the Arby's sign and then the Love sign, and they presented some information from their engineers about sight distance and so forth, requesting that justification.
If you weren't able to tell from my line of questioning, I just didn't want to start a sign war.
Yeah.
One was bigger than the next one's going to ask for bigger.
Good one.
All right.
Okay. Reports of city officials, city administrator.
Nothing tonight?
The mayor, I did ask Mary to put a copy of the letter which was received from Moberly, and I want to make sure that the public was aware. We did receive a letter from Moberly dated November the 4th, stating that Moberly Area Economic Development Corporation would not seek to extend their contract with Boonville and Cooper County. That current contract runs through December 31st, 2013. Economic development is very important to our city at this time, and I can assure you that we will continue to move forward in a timely manner so as to have a new economic developer in place by the end of the year. City Councilor.
I do have one additional comment on the Casey's annexation proposal that came together tonight for our first reading. I would request that the City Council set the public hearing officially for December 2nd. As you all may recall, when we have a voluntary annexation, we have between 14 and 60 days to hold a public hearing on that annexation. And this is, obviously, this site has been in the city for some years. However, this is one of about 5 or 6 sites in Boonville that we know of that wasn't quite surveyed correctly. So when the annexation came in 30 years ago, the legal description just wasn't quite there. So this is just annexing in a little wedge, so everything's appropriate and legal. But we do need to set that public hearing for publication on December 2nd.
Okay. Dan,
So moved.
thank you. Would you like to flesh that out for the,
The public hearing for
December 2nd.
December 2nd, I got that much of it, but the rest of the wording, I'm going to need your help.
Voluntary annexation.
Voluntary annexation
For the KC site.
for the Casey site.
okay?
What time?
Thank you for the collected help, by the way.
I think we'll just do it at 7 o'clock.
7
I
o'clock.
recommend 7 o'clock on the regular meeting time.
Okay, do I hear a second? Noah,
I'll second.
roll call.
Beach,
Yes.
Livingston.
Yes.
Carter,
Yes.
Ayers.
Yes.
Heaton,
Yes?
Young,
Yes.
Kelly,
Yes.
Meadows.
Yes.
That's all I have, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Megan. City Clerk, Mary, do you have any?
Nothing to report.
Okay. Miscellaneous, any miscellaneous this evening? Ned?
It's probably an easy question because Mike lives next door. I just wondered if there'd been any progress at all, Megan, on number 8 Riverside. I think it's either been 30 or 45 days since we talked with.
We
with
have
them.
had some preliminary discussions with the purported owner. I believe that they are planning on closing on the property on the 22nd, which is this Friday. And he is supposed to be getting with Earl the following week to come up with his plan. I think we'd put in the minutes and for that consideration that it would come back to City Council
Right.
on December 2nd. So it is finally moving forward.
Okay.
You know, it's never final till it's final, but
Right.
promised and a good conversation on several different occasions with Mr. Dixon. So I believe Friday's the day for closing, and he plans on immediately starting within the next week to 2 weeks to get it put together.
Great, thank you.
Noah?
Yeah, mine was along the same topic. I noticed that along Ashley Road, those buildings have been raised and it's cleaned up, looks very good.
It does.
But I also noticed that the one, what is that?
Pine.
Pine. No
I think-
movement on that one.
Well, actually, there has. The ownership has changed.
Okay.
And I believe Grice will be in there whenever they get it worked out.
Okay,
But it's owned locally now, so,
okay.
And they want it to come
yeah, they
down.
want it to come down.
So it will be coming down, yeah.
Good.
So, any other miscellaneous? I just want to compliment Alliance Water again on their report.
Yes.
This is very impressive, and I don't know, when I look at these pictures, the before and after, the water just tastes better. Looking at the pictures, I'm like, wow. So thank you very much for those reports, and even all the numbers, which I don't understand, but it's very nice to know. I would call for a motion to go into closed session, RSMO 610.021, for legal and real estate purposes. Noah?
So moved.
Okay, is there a second? Second. Becky? Roll call?
Beach,
Yes.
Livingston.
Yes.
Carter,
Yes.
Ayers.
Yes.
Heaton,
Yes.
Young,
Yes.
Kelly,
Yes.
Meadows.
We'll take a short break and let the room clear, and